In this video, we're going to show you to install an exterior door handle on your Cadillac Escalade located on the driver's side rear door. And once you have the door open, you want to come over to our door lock, flip that up if it is not already up, and you're going to use a small pocket screwdriver or a pick. And you're going to find a little panel right here with a notch. Simply reach in there with your tool. You want to pry this out. And then lift up, set that door lock aside. Inside the door pull area is going to be a flat panel. Use your pocket screwdriver, reach in there, and pop that out. There's a little piece right here, and there's just some little retainer tabs on the back. Set that aside. Now moving up to the actual door handle release here. Pull that open. There's a panel on the inside, has a notch at the bottom. Put your pocket screwdriver in there, pry that out. Here it is. Once again, has three little tabs on it to secure that in place. Set that aside. Now on the top of the door handle pull area, you have your window switch panel. I'm going to use a plastic trim tool because we don't want to damage or mark up the leather on here. You're going to come on the front side and just gently go into the leading edge and pry this up. Once you pry that up, you can lift up and then push it back to release the switch unit. Pull that harness up and out. I want to go ahead and disconnect our switch here. So there's a gray lock tab on this here. You can normally pull that up, but if you have to, you can use pocket screwdriver and gently go between the lock and the little push tab. You see how that just came up just a little bit. Now we want to press down on this tab, pull that harness out. So you're just pushing down right on this portion right here. Go ahead and set that switch aside. And then we're going to go ahead and tuck that harness inside so it doesn't get caught up when we pull that panel off. Now there are two 10mm bolts securing the upper portion of our door panel. There's one up here behind the door handle and one behind the pull area on the left-hand side. So we're going to use a 10mm socket extension and a 1/4-inch ratchet. Now the other tool I have in my hand is a magnet. It will make it easier to get a hold of that bolt, just like so. Let's move to the upper bolt. All right, set that aside with the other bolt. Our next step is to remove our door panel. So I'm going to use my plastic trim tool, and ideally we need to get down to the lower corner here and start pulling out on the panel. But this is a pretty tight fit. So I'm going to use my trim tool. I'm going to get behind here. And I want to work my way down to that edge. Now that we have this behind the panel, we want to try and pull out on this gently. Enough to get your fingers in there. Now we're just going to give it kind of some sharp pulls out. Work your way around the perimeter. And what we're doing is we're releasing the plastic lock tabs. Now the door panel is unlatched. It is hanging on the upper sill. When we lift this panel up and out, there's going to be a cable on the back side of this. You're going to want to grab a pair of small needle nose pliers like this here in order to remove that cable on the back side. Go ahead and grab that panel, pull it out gently, lift it up, and then separate it. On the inside right here, you can see the cable. It has a little barrel end on it. It goes through the back side of the handle. And you're going to rotate this barrel to locate the tabs and then reach in, pinch, and pull that cable out. Once it swings out, lift up, removing the barrel end. And once you have that cable disconnected, remove that door panel and set it aside. Let's go ahead and remove our insulator or water shield here. Around the edge here, there's going to be a butyl tape or sealant. I'm going to use a razor blade because what we're going to do is we want to separate this here. And sometimes you can tear this off without tearing this. Now, if yours is not coming off that easy, you can use a razor blade and just cut the adhesive. It's a self-sealing, so you're just going to run your blade along that. Do not cut the foam. We're going to install our switch here. And what we're going to do is we're going to power our window all the way up in the up position. If yours is already there, you're already one step ahead. So now that we have the water shield off, we're inside and we're going over to the internal part of the door handle up here. And here is the actuator rod going into this yellow clip. Now on the right side of this clip are hinges. So we need to pull on the left-hand side out towards us. And what's going to happen is this is going to unlatch and swing out on this hinge, releasing the threaded rod from the door handle mechanism. So that was my 90-degree pick. Release that rod. Now on the door shell right here, I'm going to go ahead and use our trim tool and remove this rubber plug. Now using our 10mm socket with extension, we're going to go in here and get to the bolt just to the left of the handle itself. Now normally we would put our extension through the hole here where the camera is viewing with our extension to get to this bolt right here. You can also use a shallow socket with your ratchet. Just put your hand inside the door. To remove that bolt. Now to the right of that handle, our other bolt was over to the left here. Over to the right is going to be the other 10 mil. Go ahead and remove that. Go ahead and grab that handle. Pull this out. Let's go ahead and remove the rod. Grab the new handle. Insert. So we're going to just work that rod through. Now what we're going to do is insert that rod in, line up our gasket. Have to pull out on that handle on the outside to get things to kind of set in. Okay, handle's installed on the outside. Let's go back to the inside and install the nuts. I'm going to go ahead and thread that in as far as I can by hand. Once you get that one in, I'm going to go ahead and install the other one. All right, let's go ahead and snug these down. Now these don't have to be super tight. You're putting a metal bolt into plastic. So once it bottoms out, just give it a little bit more. You just want to make sure that that's good and snug. Open this up, insert this in here, and then we're going to close this cover on top of it and latch it. Always give that handle a test. Everything's working perfect. Install the rubber plug. Just line it up and push it in. We're going to remove our switch from previous because we had to move our window. Let's go ahead and install our water shield. Pull your harness through. And once you have that lined up, and how you're going to do it is basically just watch where the existing butyl tape would have been and just kind of line it up. Work your way around. Take the ball end of the cable. I'm going to insert that into the back side of the handle, stretch the cable, bring it around, and then push it in. You're going to hear it snap into place. Bring that door panel over, and we're going to set the top part of the door panel in the door sill. You'll feel it drop right down into place once it's lined up. Don't forget to make sure that your power window switch cable comes up through the panel itself. Our next step is you want to run your fingers down along the edges and can actually look on the inside of the door sill and make sure that those plastic retainer buttons line up. Once they line up, push them in. Okay, we're all locked in. Let's install our two 10mm bolts. Once it bottoms out, good quarter turn should snug that down pretty good. Go ahead and install your switch. I'm going to line that up, push it on. Don't forget to push down on the lock tab, the gray tab. And we install this here. We're going to install the back section first. Tuck in that harness. Snap that in. Install your door pull trim. Make sure that the rounded edges go on the bottom. Simply push that in, guide it with your other hand, and those tabs will line up right on the panel itself. You're going to hear it and feel it pop into place. Then up on the upper section here, same thing, little trim, two tabs go on the top, one on the bottom. Simply line that up. Now for your door lock button, you should have the rod exposed here, the threaded rod. If it is down inside, simply use a pair of pliers, gently grab it, and pull it in the full upright unlocked position. Take your lock button, make sure that the lock button is pulled out or the lock tab is pulled out. Slide that down. Once that little lock tab bottoms out on the edge of the plastic trim on the door panel, simply push it in. You're going to hear it lock. At that point there, you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.